Hey guys, Chandler here, back on my channel, Alternate Journey, and today we are going to be reacting to a Jubilee video. Do all trans teens think the same? I honestly do think that Jubilee thinks that all trans teens think the same, or at least all trans women and all trans men and like non-binary individuals. They like have their own cliques and like will think the same or like think all the same woke way. But I have a theory, like, it really does depend on where they are within their transition. I'm interested to see what type of questions they ask them too, so let's just jump right in.
I would date a cisgendered individual.
Like, I've dated cis people in the past, and like every time, like especially because like I'm a female at birth and non-binary, like if I'm dating like a man, he typically just sees me as a woman. Like, I saw a TikTok literally yesterday. It was like, have y'all ever been with a they, them woman? I was like, that is so like no. If you can't see me as non-binary, I cannot be seen outside with you. Like with women that are cis, like it's more welcoming, but like people, like they perceive us as like a lesbian couple, and that's not really like what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so yeah, this really does depend where you are within your transition, I feel like. And it is harder with non-binary individuals being seen as non-binary, just because a lot of people are confused with the language around it. Like, they can't call them boyfriend or girlfriend, a woman or a male, because they're non-binary. So you gotta call them, like, you know, your partner, your spouse, and stuff like that. And like, that is just, it's hard to learn at first. It's just something that you gotta be persistent on and stuff like that. Maybe think a little bit, but then it just becomes natural. To me, honestly, yes, I would date a cisgender individual. I have, honestly. It's more accepting to date within the community, I feel like, just because the sake factor of, like, you don't have to explain things. You can skip over that part because you spent so much time questioning yourself, figuring out yourself, dealing with your own insecurities about it, and like you debating whether or not it's actually true about yourself and everything like that. So it's like you don't want to go through that again. So that's for some people, though. Obviously, I'm not speaking for all. Some people like educating people about the trans community and stuff like that, and it's not seen as a burden to them or triggering to them. So it just depends on the individual.
At my age, boys kind of come into themselves and their desires, and it's just weird because they either want one thing or another thing, and usually like I'm subject to be fetishized. Like some guys will like come at me and like be like yeah, like you're like the best of both worlds, and I'm like, girl, this is not Hannah Montana. Like, I am a girl. I want to have like my own little moment where I could just get my own Prince Charming and stuff like that and just have a normal, you know, relationship like the rest of these cis girls.
For me, like, I've normally only dated cis girls. I've been fetishized like probably a couple of times. Like, they say, oh yeah, I'm bi, and then like, they like see me as like a girl or something, and it's so bizarre. But I've only recently ever like dated someone who's not cis, and they identify as non-binary, and that relationship taught me so much because I feel like they really saw me like for who I am, and like they were the most like aware person.
You just gotta find that individual. I don't think gender has anything to do with relationship-wise. That's why I don't like this question. I don't like it when they ask people, would you rate transgender individuals? And I don't like when people ask them, would you date cisgender individuals? Maybe it's just my bisexuality that I really don't care about gender when it comes to relationships and stuff like that. Maybe that's why I get so frustrated with it, because like gender really doesn't matter because I'm bisexual, so it's like, what the fuck does it matter to me? Being fetishized is like literally the worst fear within being in the trans community, especially when like you first come out and like start dating. I've been through it. I don't want to necessarily say that's a stage that everyone has to go through.
I've only been with one cis person, and it was a girl, and I feel like, if anything, girls are super understanding, but I'm still open to a cis person. Like, it depends on the person, really. Like, I'm not looking for a trans person, I'm just looking for a
exactly.
good person.
You should be able to medically transition before adulthood.
A lot of us, we
Okay.
have realized that this is what's best for us, like as kids, and it's all about your mental health and well-being. But also, that being said, I think it's also important that this is what you really want, because it's going to be a life-changing decision, and behind that, there should be a lot of evaluations and a lot of affirmations.
That's basically what I was gonna say. It's like, it depends where you're at. You have to be at a certain place and like make sure like you're really ready. But I do think it would help so many trans kids' mental health if they were able to transition before 18.
Okay, so I'm glad that all of them went towards the agreed side. I would be on strongly agree. I think a lot of people just go on like the somewhat agree line just to save their ass for the sake factor of like, hey, yeah, there's undereducated individuals that like will just go on it and then detransition. But I hate when people use that as an excuse just because it's like, it's not that easy to go on HRT. I don't think people understand the whole process of it all. But yeah, you have to get evaluated and get diagnosed with gender dysphoria. And then the treatment for that is testosterone. That's how you get a script for testosterone. It's not that easy. People just don't sign off on it just to get you out of their office. HRT really does help with mental health. Yes, there are side effects that are irreversible, but not everything's irreversible. It's just something that you really have to evaluate and see if it's the right decision for you. That's all it is.
Teachers are accepting of my pronouns.
This is going to be interesting because this is today for them. I don't think a lot of teachers are. I think they're still confused, especially
I
with
went to
non-binary
UCI for
individuals.
a quarter, and they were very understanding, and like they don't really like ask questions. But in high school, it was definitely a struggle because like my name was a different name on the roster, and then like I would have to explain. Especially like my Spanish teacher, she had like such like Catholic beliefs, and like she would pull me aside and like ask questions, and it was really sweet of her to like try to understand, but it was also hard for them to like remember like in class and stuff like that, so it was kind of a struggle.
I'm honestly really thankful that they really did try to find a way to like make trans people feel a bit more comfortable in the school. Like right now I'm taking like a ballet and Pilates class, and I totally thought it was gonna be, oh, but you were like born male, so you have to do like masculine presenting stuff, which I was like really afraid of, but I'm so glad that they're like really accepting.
I go to UC Berkeley right now, and I get misgendered there like on a daily basis. Like I will introduce myself to the teacher and I'll be like, I go by they, them pronouns, by the way, I'm non-binary, like please respect my pronouns. And like within 2 times like that I'm in the classroom, they'll go back to using she, her pronouns, and like other classmates will also misgender me, and it gets just really mentally taxing at a point. And so I kind of just like stop trying as much, because like it's just mentally exhausting having to realize like no one sees you as non-binary because you still have like feminine qualities about yourself.
I think when it comes to that is that a lot of people think that a lot of non-binary individuals use to say them, but also another pronoun as well. Because like, you know how with Instagram how they have the pronouns thing now? A lot of people, you'll realize they'll have like she, they, or he, they. And it's like, I know that's not always the case, but like I feel like people see that and they automatically assume, okay, non-binary individuals, yes, they go by they, them, but whatever they present as, they also accept those pronouns as well. And I think that's what society's understanding is with non-binary individuals, which is not true in a lot of cases. But I think it's just something that like people just still need to be educated on.
Come out more than once.
So do they mean like sexuality and gender, or like you came out multiple times with gender, like you were experimenting, came out as one thing? I think many people probably have that explanation, because it's like you come out to like maybe like a few friends when you're exploring your gender and being like, hey, I'm interested in this, can you start using they, them pronouns just so I can experiment and see if that works with me? So I think it's not bad. I think that's a stigma. This is like a stigma question, because it's like it's a stigma that a lot of people keep on coming out at. Like that's the whole trans thing, is that like you come out as like a lesbian or gay when you're a young teenager. You think it's your sexuality, then you realize it's your gender, so then you come out as like gender queer or gender non-conforming or gender fluid, and then you realize you're like a trans male or trans female. That's what a lot of people think, and I hate that. It's kind of what this question's implying in my mind. Like, I don't want people to think that it's wrong for you to come out multiple times. It's called you finding yourself.
I've come out multiple times, like not just like for my like trans experience, but for like my sexuality as well. Because I came out as like pansexual, then I came out as bi, And then I was just came out as non-binary before I came out as trans. I'm like, oh my god, like when are we gonna get it right, y'all? Like,
yeah, same. I think I went through like 4 or 5 different sexualities, and then I was like, wait. And then I just feel like presenting more androgynous, it is this struggle of like coming out every day and being like, hey, like I know I look this way, but this is like what I am, this is how I feel.
I kind of feel like I have to come out like every single day, just like with new people I meet in my life. Like I'm constantly having to be like, oh yeah, my name's Mandy, I'm non-binary, I go by they, them pronouns, please respect those pronouns, or this is not like a safe space for me.
I get the like telling people on like a daily basis, like anyone you meet, like I want people to know immediately that I'm trans because I don't want to bring it up later on and have it be an issue with them. I feel like I only came out once because after the first time I kind of made it visible and I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to have to come out again. And I thankfully had very supportive people in my life that like I could have came out to again, but I felt a lot more comfortable just kind of like living my life and having people just like accept what I'm doing with my life without, you know, coming out again.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the thing, like you don't actually have to come out, you can just do your shit, you know what I'm saying? Like just be you. But I do understand that aspect of like having to come out literally every day when you're non-binary. There is no one way to be non-binary, so it's like, it's again, it's just more education that, you know, we need to have about non-binary identities.
Cisgender individuals do not understand my struggles.
Personally, my friends try to empathize, and I really appreciate that for them. But personally, I think that cis people take for granted, you know, their gender euphoria. Getting ready in the morning and looking at yourself and having the absence of distress. Like when I get up and I get ready and I look at myself physically, like I'm distressed, like I don't look like the person I was just dreaming I was.
I've known people that were cis and then would kind of be like transphobic towards me, and then after a few years they start transitioning and they're like, oh, I understand now. And like it wasn't until they were going through it and really felt the pain of it that they were able to understand.
Yeah, okay.
I try to think of just like the whole entire spectrum of just like cis people who are like identifying female, but for some reason their bodies present more masculine. I feel like they can have that sort of point of view that can help them sympathize and empathize for you more. It's all about like the spectrum and just how there's just so many nuances.
Okay, I like how she explained that because, yeah, I do agree with that. Like some cisgender individuals can understand your pain, especially if they get misgendered when it's like, they're like walking around and being like, yo, why am I being misgendered? Like I'm cis as fuck. You know what I'm saying? But like, say like it's like a cis woman, but like yet they're wearing something maybe like a little more masculine and stuff like that. Maybe they have a shorter haircut than the norm and they get misgendered as a male. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they can understand with that level. I mean, obviously they're never going to understand the deeper underlying level of like what actually dysphoria is. But like, I do think that they can understand certain struggles.
Life would be easier if I wasn't trans.
100%.
3, 2,
Yeah.
1.
I mean, for the things that, I mean,
My whole thing is like, I'm already like a person of color. If I wasn't non-binary, I'd be a woman. So like life is not gonna be easy for me. And I just feel like that it wouldn't be the same, but it wouldn't be necessarily easier.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying about being a person of color and being queer, but you know, like I've been through so much horrible shit, and like personally, like my life would be easier if I was cis. I mean, a defining part of who I am is definitely being trans, but every day I do wonder, you know, what if I was actually born a cis like female, you know?
Yeah, I hate that I still think a lot of the time, like, I wonder what life would be like if I was cis, or I kind of wish I was cis. Like I know I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't know almost anyone in my life if I wasn't trans and if I didn't go through the struggles I went through. I hate that every week I have to like inject my hormones. Like I get so angry that like cis people get it for free, and like it's just natural.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, and there's times where my insurance is being like annoying, and I can't get my
like
hormones.
You got it in your body. Like I got it in a drawer.
Yeah, like it's really, really hard and like breaks me down, but I know that I wouldn't be who I am if I wasn't trans.
Yeah, just like bouncing off that, just the thought of like waking up and not having dysphoria about something, and like not trying on like 15 different shirts because my chest doesn't look flat enough, or like just stuff like that. I think it would genuinely make my life easier. But again, it's like I wouldn't meet the people that I have in my life, and I'm so grateful for them.
that's the thing, and I think I kind of agree with the same way. Like, the little things within life would be easier, because I wouldn't be well, also you wouldn't get hate crimes, so that's a big thing. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like the little things. It's like the little things that people take for granted is the biggest things sometimes. All in all, I feel like I'd be the same person as I was. I don't think my personality would have changed. If anything, I would have been definitely a lot more confident with myself. Okay, and that was actually the last question. I feel like they did ask pretty good questions and stuff. I didn't hate anyone within this group. I was really scared that like some of them were gonna be like extremely woke, I guess, or Tumblr about it. That's how I say something is like when someone's like trying to be too woke. I call them Tumblr. Does that make sense? Or am I too old for some people? Pretty much agreed with what people are saying within this video too. What this video showed me is that there definitely needs to be more education within non-binary individuals. What are the comments? They should have asked if they would date a trans individual. I find it in the trans community they are sometimes super controversial. Like, you're either strictly T for T or you're repulsed by fellow trans people. LOL, it's such a heated debate. What? I haven't seen that, honestly. Like, I feel like a lot of trans people just date within the community just because it's easier. I don't think other trans individuals are disgusted by trans individuals unless their views about trans individuals is off. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they don't agree, then obviously they're repulsed by each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like if, like, I were to date Caitlyn Jenner. Like, I don't agree with her views at all as a fellow trans individual. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on. I would like to see these following prompts. Fully transition is important to me. That would be interesting. I want to actually hear from younger individuals about their opinion with that. I feel like that most of them are going to say, like, no, you don't have to fully transition. I realized I was trans at a young age. I feel like most of them would just say that, like, they knew something was off, but they didn't know about their full gender. You should do trans versus detransition individuals. I thought they did, or someone did. It depends on who you get. You could get, like, extremely, like, Christian detransitioning individuals that's like totally against trans individuals now and everything, and they say like it's like mind control and like, yeah, so that would be very interesting depending on like the demographic of people, like views that you get on that. That would be actually, I would actually like to see that. If anyone knows any video like that, please link it down below. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. Comment down your guys' thoughts, maybe answer some of the questions down below, especially if your opinion was different from everyone else's. And if there's any other videos that you guys want me to react to, please comment that down below as well. I want to react to a lot more stuff on my channel. Look at the statistics. If you find yourself watching multiple videos, might as well subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell down below so you get notifications whenever I upload. And I'll see you guys next time.